So this is Reed. He has a YouTube channel where he has these very civil, cordial type conversations to promote basically stop fighting. You know, of when you're having conversations about deeply held beliefs that sometimes are very emotional or just different worldviews, to be able to understand each other. So he told me you're a IDF?
I'm an IDF reserve. I was just patrolling the Judean hills before I got here, and my son's fighting in Gaza right now against Hamas.
Okay, so that's probably a good topic.
Yes, and I have my own media program where I talk about the politically incorrect truth about Israel, the Jewish people, and freedom-loving world. So I've been one of the most censored Jewish voices on the internet. Started to be censored in 2016. Facebook deplatformed one of my pages of 500,000 followers because I had a meme that said it's called Israel, not Palestine. So I'm at the forefront of all this censorship. I'm all for conversation, respectful disagreements.
Yeah.
And at the front line of the backlash against the agenda and the narrative of certain issues.
Well, I'll tell you my bias, and my bias is for you. I'm on your side. But I want to try to maybe, I don't know, ask questions that might make you understand the other side.
Go for it.
Yeah. So but why don't we start with a claim, a very specific claim that you would make, that you strongly believe on this topic, that people disagree with. What can you think of? Anything? Could be like, who owns the land, or is Israel committing genocide? Anything like that? Is there a strong?
Choose whatever you want. There are such a list of it. Every day new lies are brought up, so I call it whack-a-mole. Every day we have to deal with new lies.
Well, before we do that, tell me, I'm very curious. What exactly was you said last week you were in the front line, or
3 weeks ago before I came my trip, yeah.
What does that look like? What does your day-to-day look like there?
In the front line? Are we recording already? This part?
Yeah, he's always recording.
Oh, he's always recording.
It's no off position on him.
Okay, no, I didn't know if it started or not. All right.
Yeah.
What does the front line look like?
Yeah. What's your day-to-day look like? Like, what do you do there?
Okay. Well, in all honesty, there's the understanding now in Israel. I always understood this, but all of Israel basically woke up to understand that what happened on our southern border with Gaza, where you had Hamas terrorists, but not just Hamas terrorists, plenty of civilians joined the terrorists, and the videos are there showing hundreds of people running in without any guns whatsoever. So civilians of all ages, older men, gentlemen with canes, and children and teenagers, took part in not only looting but murdering innocent Jews in their homes, women, children, babies, beheading them, burning them to death, out of nowhere. And now all Israelis have realized, oh my God. Many Israelis have woken up and realized, oh my God, this is a threat that does not only exist on our Gaza border. We have many Arab Muslims who believe in those same precepts of waking up in the morning and murdering Jews for no other reason than you'll be a martyr and get 72 virgins if you do so. So in my community, I'm a proud resettler living in the historical ancestral homeland of the Jewish people. From my porch, I overlook Bethlehem and Jerusalem and the Temple Mount.
What do you think causes this animosity?
It's a religious conflict. It has nothing to do with land. If this conflict had been based on land, it would have been solved 100+ years ago. Peace was offered on the table, starting from the Appeal Commission, I think, is the 1930s. Then we had the Partition Plan of the United Nations in 1947, and since then there have been peace plan after peace plan. But the Jewish people have always said yes, even though it's giving up on our own land, our own ancestral homelands, our own holy places. We always say yes, and unfortunately the Arab Muslim world always says no. And I specifically say the Arab Muslim world because this conflict is with the Arab Muslim world. Not all Muslims, not every Arab country, but again, it's a religious conflict. Because anyone just has to open up the actual partition plan from 1947 and see that the word Palestine or Palestinians isn't mentioned once. Because in 1947, there were no Palestinian Arab nation. And there was no state to be called Palestine. The United Nations partition plan, and Google it, look it up yourself. It specifically says the creation of two-state solution is to create a Jewish state and an Arab state. because they were just Arabs who were living there. They were not called. They didn't call themselves Palestinians. So at the time, it was the Arab Muslim world that attacked Israel to destroy Israel in 1948. And today, they have what's called the Palestinian Authority, or Hamas, and they're called Palestinians, which again has been created over the years as a new strategy to try to destroy the Jewish state of Israel. So going back to the reality of what my day is when I'm in reserve duty, so I'm on patrol, patrolling from different places around my community in Judea and Samaria, because we know that the hundreds of thousands of Arab Muslims that surround us at any moment could decide to surprise attack us and kill and murder in our beds my family, my wife, my children, my neighbors, where we live. Because I look just 100 meters out my window, I see an Arab Muslim village. We live in close proximity to them. And it's the reality that our neighbors...
Given that reality,
yeah.
Are you hateful of the Palestinian people?
No, I have no hate in my body. I hate evil. I don't hate a person. I hate evil. I hate the agenda. I believe the biggest... Let me tell you right now. I'll tell you, it's very simple. And this I've given in my talks as I'm going around speaking. I think October 7th gave humanity, it's a wake-up call, a clear dividing line of evil. We saw people be murdered, massacred, mutilated, babies' heads beheaded, people burnt alive. Not militants, not Israeli soldiers, babies, grandmothers, right? Clear evil. So since October 7th, I think there are 3 categories of people in the world today. Category number 1, those people who recognize we just saw the face of evil in our modern times, and evil, in order has to be gotten rid of, has to be eradicated. Category number 1. Category number 2, people who say that's not evil. No, they have every right to do what they did. That's resistance. Right? So they support evil. They're supporting genocide. And it's not just in Israel. You see this in the streets of New York, Los Angeles, D.C., Paris, London. They're supporting Hamas and its genocide against the Jews. Clear support for evil. But believe it or not, I believe it's the 3rd category that's the most dangerous. And that third category are people who say, you want to know something that is evil, but nah, it doesn't have to be eradicated. We just have to placate it and just have to learn how to live with it. Well, those are the ones who allow evil to prosper by ignoring it. And another thing I think it's very important to say, not only do I not hate anybody, I don't hate any Arab, I don't hate any Muslim. Not at all. Believe it or not, I think there are plenty of peaceful, loving Arab Muslims, and they're getting the bad ends of the stick in the Western world today. Because there are plenty of Arab Muslims who escaped the radicalization of the Arab Muslim East to the West. They specifically ran away from Iran, from Syria, from Iraq, from Lebanon, from Yemen, to enjoy the freedom of America, to enjoy the freedom of Britain, to enjoy the freedom of Paris and Germany, France and Germany, right? But then the Western world is allowing the evil within Islam that they escaped to flourish in these Western countries. And those Arab Muslims who ran away to enjoy the freedom of the Western world are now subjected to the evil of their own religion that they ran away from.
Yeah.
So again, I have no hatred to anybody. I have hatred to evil. I hate evil, and I'm very vocal of educated Western intellectuals who are not only ignoring the evil that's right in front of us and endangering all of us, but whether actively supporting it, like administrators of the top Ivy League universities today, Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Penn, saying that they're calling genocide against blacks is obviously a no-no. Calling genocide against LGBTs is obviously a no-no. But calling genocide against Jews, no, that's okay. It depends upon the context.
I have a YouTube channel, and I made a video using AI speech cloning to actually clone the Harvard, and I brought up the exact point.
Right, and so now you're seeing the most intellectual, most respected Western thought leaders or of institutions, they're not just ignoring the evil. They are passively supporting the evil to grow. And again, this evil that exists within the radicalization of the Muslim world, it's not just against the Jews. People have to understand Islam. Islam is a political movement. It's not a religion. It's a political movement in the guise of a religion. It's a culture.
Yeah, it has rules.
It rules for a culture.
But you could say the same thing about Judaism as well.
Judaism is a culture, but the major difference, we're not a religion, and not enough Jews understand this. We're a people. We're a nation. which also is why I try to talk to my fellow Jews and say, come home. Because, like, we're a nation, and then here's something that I hope will excite some people who are listening. The Jewish people have three very unique aspects. We're the only people in the world speaking the same language as our ancestors 3,000 plus years ago. We're the only people in the world doing the same religious rituals as our ancestors did 3,000 plus years ago. And the only people, third component, doing all these things and speaking this language in our ancestral homelands where our ancestors lived 3,000 plus years ago. We are a nation. We're not a religion. The religious aspects, the traditions, that's just like the secret sauce that helps us survive and pass on our identity from generation to generation. But the major difference between us and Islam in terms of two cultures or two nations is that we're not looking to conquer the world. We just want to live peacefully as the people of the Bible in our ancestral homeland of Israel. I'm not out to conquer America. I'm not out to conquer Spain. The Jewish people are not out to conquer Asia or China. Islam is out to conquer the whole world in the name of Islam.
Okay, let me. I had a Muslim on my show a couple weeks ago. And I asked him to role play an Israeli Jew.
Okay.
He failed greatly.
Okay.
He could not do it. He could maybe get a few words in, and then he would right away. But I'm going to role play a Muslim Palestinian supporter.
I thought you were going to ask me to role play.
Well, we're going to switch.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to make some claims.
Sure.
And I want you to respond with empathy and with rationality, both.
Sure.
Okay? Your people are committing genocide against my people.
Well, let's deal with the facts on the ground. Facts on the ground is, unfortunately, like in every single war, non-combatants are being killed. Unfortunately, that happens in war, and that's very sad, and I'm sad about every death from everybody. Let's talk about genocide. Genocide, a couple levels here. First level is genocide is actually about the elimination of a people. That's what genocide is. Okay. First of all, let's talk about the population of Gaza. In 1967, when Israel liberated the Gaza Strip, there were 340,000 Arab Muslims who lived in Gaza. Today's 2023. Before the war, close to 2 million Arab Muslims live in the Gaza Strip. If Israel and the Jewish people or the Jewish state of Israel are committing genocide, we're really bad at it because they grew over all the years since we liberated it and then allowed them to have their own control over that, which I disagreed with, knowing that it would be a catastrophe when we pulled out all of our soldiers and all of our Jewish residents out of the Gaza Strip in 2005, and I actually produced a movie called Home Game about the last youth basketball tournament during the summer of 2005 when they were being expelled from their homes, which gives a whole different human picture of what happened. So that's point number one, fact number one about genocide. No genocide's taking place. A war is taking place. But most of the information people are given by the establishment media and on college campuses is not just wrong, it's 180 degrees wrong. Okay? The true genocide is what the Arab Muslim world has been doing against the Jews all these years. From the river to the sea, I imagine you know that mantra that screamed at all these protests. Well, for those who don't understand, we're talking about from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, which includes all 7 million Jews who live there. So when that chant is being made from the river to the sea, Palestine should be free, that's basically a genocide of the Jewish people. So why is my people in my state being blamed for genocide when we try our best? We've given the best lives possible. The most blessed Arab Muslim in the Middle East is one that lives in the Jewish state of Israel. How do I know this? Because only in the Jewish state of Israel can a Shiite Muslim, a Sunni Muslim, a gay Muslim, a female Muslim, an atheist Muslim, live together in peace and prosperity and have full rights and equality with all Christians and Jews who live in Israel. Tell me one other state, Arab Muslim state in the Middle East, where that is possible. Because according to my knowledge of the Middle East, all the Sunni states basically persecute the Shiites. All the Shiite states basically persecute the Sunnis. Yazidis and Christians are all oppressed. Women don't have equal rights. Gays are thrown from rooftops. Atheists killed according to Islam, so you can't be a public atheist. The most blessed Arab Muslim in the Middle East is those that live under the Jewish state of Israel. That is the truth of the Middle East. And I'll give you this story, because it's a personal story, and I think this one little story tells the whole story of the Middle East, and this little anecdote. There is a program in the IDF that's a conversion program for Israelis who are serving in the IDF who are not officially Jewish according to Jewish law, and then they're given the opportunity to convert when they're during their service. And the program is called Nativ, so anyone can look it up if they're interested. And part of the program, meaning they're taken out of whatever battalion or fighting unit or whatever, and they spend learning about Judaism. And part of it is spending a Shabbat, right? A Shabbat is the Saturday when we disconnect from the world and we connect with families and God, and we just sit and eat and pray all day. No screens, no electricity, no driving, just family time, just prayer, right? And eating. So part of this conversion program is they get to spend a Shabbat at a Shomer Shabbat family, or a religious family that keeps the Sabbath according to our traditions. So every few months we host these soldiers. And today, most of the Israeli soldiers who convert are Ukrainian or Russians, because they're not officially Jewish, but they have Jewish lineage and they live in Israel and they're serving in the army. So one Shabbat, we went around the table like I always do, and I said, what's your name? What's your story? So one guy's name, we had 5 guys, I think. Maxim, Igor, whatever the names. And then one guy says, Muhammad. I'm like, Muhammad? Why do I have a Muhammad at my table? Like, he's an IDF soldier, and he's in a conversion program. I'm like, Muhammad, where are you from? So I'm expecting to hear from Jaffa, right? It's an Israeli city with a lot of Arab population. Akko, another Israeli city. Nazareth, an Israeli city with a big Arab population. And he tells me Gaza. I'm like, whoa, something is really off here. I have a Muslim from Gaza serving the IDF, converting to Judaism, sitting at my Shabbat table. Muhammad, what exactly is your story? And then he started to say the following. He said, my father was an employee of the Palestinian Authority from 2005. And then 2007, again, this doesn't get mentioned by the establishment media, Hamas had a military coup against the Palestinian Authority, where it literally was killing and throwing off of rooftops the employees of the Palestinian Authority. Right? Their brothers, their neighbors, their family, they're killing each other in a military coup. So Muhammad's father's life was in danger. Muhammad's father understood that Hamas was bad news for them, so he secretly started helping Israel in terms of targets of Hamas in Gaza and information. So that his life was even in more danger, and his family's life was even in more danger. The Jewish state of Israel, in order to save his life, smuggled in Muhammad, his brothers, he's one of youngest of 4 siblings, 4 brothers, his mother and his father smuggled into Israel, gave them Israeli citizenship so they can be safe and not be in threat of being killed by Hamas. Okay? So I'm like, wow, that's quite a story, Muhammad. But why are you serving the IDF? Like, okay, it's great, be thankful, but why are you serving the IDF? You grew up in Gaza. He goes, you don't understand. All my life I was taught by my educators in Gaza that the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel are evil and they want to kill me. And what I find out, it's my own people, my own neighbors, my own family are trying to kill me. And it was the Jews who saved the life of me and my family. And as an appreciation, not only me, but all 3 of my older brothers, we all served in the IDF in order as an act of thanks to the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel for saving our lives. I'm like, wow, okay, I get that. But why convert? Like, you're Muslim. Like, you don't have to convert. It's hard to be a Jew. We're like the most persecuted people of all of history. Like, it's not so easy to follow 613 commandments to be a Jew. Like, you don't have to be a Jew. Like, Judaism, as opposed to other religions, we don't actively convert. And when someone actually comes and says they want to convert, we say, no, you don't have to. Be a good person. Follow the 7 Noahide laws. You're good. Don't take it upon yourself. You don't have to join us and be part of what we have to deal with on a historic belief-based level, right? He goes, no, you don't understand. I was taught by Islam and by Muslim clerics all my life that the Jews are evil.
Yeah.
And here I'm learning that the Judaism cares about life, and it's my own religion that teaches me to die and die as a martyr. I don't want to be part of that anymore. I want to be part of the Jewish people. And that's why I'm converting. That one little story has all the truth and exposes all the lies of the Middle East in that little story.
Okay, I want to critique you on what you just did.
Please.
You started off putting out facts, which can be good and okay. And you did mention how genocide's bad, and you did show some empathy. But I think, like, I'm picturing that Muslim guy I had on my channel the other day. His brain would turn off probably within 20 seconds.
Oh, I didn't know I was talking to a Muslim.
Yeah, remember I was role-playing as this.
Sorry, so I lost that.
Yeah. But what you did well was that story you told. That will resonate with them. So I'm going to ask one more question, and we probably should wrap it up soon. But I'm going to role-play as that Muslim. He's going to ask you, can you admit to me, or can you give me an example of where the Israeli government went too far against Hamas? Like in the past month or so, is there anything where you think they've gone too far with their retaliation?
That is a great question. And believe it or not, my answer is no. We did not go far enough because we have to eradicate evil. And unfortunately, eradicating evil looks bad.
So if a Hamas leader was hiding in a building with 1,000 civilians and the IDF put a bomb on that building, you would say that's okay?
No, I wouldn't say that's okay, and I know the IDF wouldn't do that. But I think the IDF and the state of Israel is the only country in the world that throws down leaflets and actually calls on the phone people in their homes and tells them to evacuate in order to not harm civilians. And understanding that if we're calling people on the phones and flyers are flying down from the sky, well, it's not just the civilians who are going to see that and know that information, but they're going to tell the terrorists we're looking after, potentially hurting our ability to hurt those terrorists.
Okay, that's good. Okay, this is me now, not the Muslim. You gave a marker of what would change your mind in your answer, and that's good. And that's what this Reed's YouTube channel is all about, of what would change your mind. So if it were true, and I understand it's not true, but if it were that Israel were dropping bombs and killing, let's say, 1,000 civilians for every one Hamas, you would say too far, correct?
That's a very put it like this. I'm dealing with the realism.
Yeah.
All right, and the realism is that the Jewish state of Israel is doing everything in its power to minimize civilian casualties. Right. That's the reality. And when I say we're not going far enough, I'm not saying in terms of that example.
Right.
All right. I'm saying that right now my son, who's serving in Gaza, and his fellow soldiers are endangering their lives, running through buildings and tunnels that shouldn't be there. They should be taken out and bulldozed over or destroyed from the sky before they get there. The civilians are gone already. They're gone already 2-3 weeks. And any civilian who's still there, well, he's there knowing that he's there to protect the terrorists. But most of them are all down in southern Gaza. But right now, we're losing the lives of holy soldiers who are trying to do everything to protect all of humanity, not just the Jews, because this evil, if we don't stop it here, it's going to spread all over the Western world because it's already here. And there are already cells already in America and Europe ready to do all the stuff they did to us here as well when that day comes. And they're risking their lives because international pressure and a skewed, what I call immoral, progressive value system. And again, President Biden and his administration have said straight out, minimize the damage, minimize civilian casualties. We don't need anyone to tell us that. We're doing that on our own. But that pressure is putting even more pressure on the rules of engagement, making it even harder on us to do what we have to do to eradicate the evil, and endangering the lives of my son, his friends, and all the holy IDF soldiers who are there trying to defend the whole freedom-loving world.
Okay, how old's your son?
21.
21. Well, I wish him all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
For talking with us today.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that.